I trade spot and futures on BYDFi, and if you want to set up an account now, send me a message once you've created your account with your username and UID on Telegram, and I'll put you into a randomly selected prize draw. I've got $10, $20 and $50 gift cards to give out, which basically go against your trading fees, giving you free trading fees basically until the gift cards run out. BYDFi. Hello everybody, welcome back. With a late start this morning. It's almost the afternoon really, so let's have a look at what's been going on then, starting with Bitcoin. So yesterday we were talking about that potential pump signal, weren't we, on XRP. Doesn't look like that'll be happening anytime soon. Just to clarify, because I know some people were talking about it after the dump, if it's still valid. The video was being made around this area. I said, look, if we get a Chiku span and a green portion of the cloud flash green, that would be a pump signal on the 4-hourly, which would likely be the end of this particular consolidation. And don't play the signal until it's generated, which was basically where we left that video. So just to put it across, I made it very clear that the signal has not been generated, and to look at the chart for the next 24 to 48 hours, because that would be the pump signal. So I'll tell you what, just using XRP as an example, because this is like this is basically what the rest of the charts all look like. So yeah, big wicks, but candle bodies closing so far on a 200 exponential moving average. So that is a golden cross retest, surprisingly. About 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks ago, when I was saying about how the market is getting quite close to, you know, at least the risk to reward is diminishing, right? I said, if you're looking to get in on anything, or, you know, if you want to redeploy gains, don't keep chasing the green. What you should wait for would be a red. And the best thing to do would be to find the best retest of the highest term moving average, being something like this right now. And I'm not saying do this, but I'm just saying this is what one of the things we were waiting for on altcoins. We've been talking about it a long time on the streams. I said, look, this is a golden cross retest on a higher term time frame. So just to reiterate that fact, we go to 4-hourlies. What do we see on 4-hourlies after golden crosses? You often get retests with decent moving averages, and then V-shaped recoveries. Has XRP really had any? Hasn't really, actually. What else has? Let's have a look. Okay, so here's a good example then. So Atom. So there's the golden crosses, up, up and away, bounce into a 200 simple moving average on the 4-hourly, up, up and away, retest into a 200 simple moving average, up, up and away, and recently broken down from that. Okay, fair enough. So what does the daily say? Because the 4-hourly is obviously breaking down from that. So what do we have here on Atom? So we had a golden cross on the daily, and the first retest now on an exponential moving average. Simple moving average is actually all the way down here at $8.50 something. So this is quite a clear example of what I was referring to, whether it's 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks ago, when we were getting these setups. I said, look, if you want to get back into alts, don't keep trying to overtrade. You know, I've been very clear over the last, well, it's probably more than that, about 6 weeks, that every time I hit a resistance, I sell a portion and keep going up, sell, sell, sell. And my tether balance has been increasing more and more and more and more and more. And if I am going to deploy anything, it would be in a scenario either like this, or it would be in about 6 months if we continue to consolidate. So yeah, I suppose, you know, this is an area for not just Atom, but probably for the majority of altcoins, where they're either touching a 50 exponential moving average for the first time, or a 200 exponential moving average for the first time on a daily, which is effectively a golden cross retest, which most of the time, but obviously not all of the time, most of the time does generate a V-shaped recovery and some more. So what's Bitcoin done? Has Bitcoin done anything like that? Let's have a look. It did. It did, exactly. The dump came down to the perfect 50 exponential moving average, which is a portion of a golden cross retest. If it did continue to go down much further, 33,646 is where the 200 exponential is, and the 200 simple is sitting down here at 32,454. Okay, let's put things into context then. What is this? This is the setup that we've been thinking about for I'm pretty sure it goes back about at least 3 weeks, I would say, when we were first talking about this, and what the size of the pullbacks would look like and where the buy zones would be. Now, Ethereum's also a bit messier, so it did come down. There's also, like I say, it's closed above there yesterday, it's opened above there today. The 50 exponential sitting at 2,182, and the 200 exponential is 1,932. So obviously quite a bit further down for Ethereum. That, just to put it into context, would be another 13, almost 14%, at least just to the exponential. So this is I suppose, something that we've been waiting for. But is it something worth taking advantage of? It's an interesting question. We might need to take a look at traditional markets to help find the answer. So let's have a look at the Dixie. So the Dixie had a big bold move. Yesterday closed above the the 20 moving average and the 21 exponential. So now we're more likely to continue to go up, I would say, on this Dixie. The Dixie is very likely, I would say at this point now, to move up to 103.35 or maybe even 103.77. And again, what is that? That's a death cross retest on a daily. So it's the opposite of what Bitcoin and Ethereum and altcoins are all doing. It's the opposite. This is a bearish retest, and then this is a bullish retest. Now the difference is that, you know, obviously the symmetry between the two charts is relatively clear, but it's not going to be perfect. So who do you trust the most? Is it the Dixie you trust the most? Is it Bitcoin, or do you not trust any of them? I wouldn't blame you for choosing any one of those, really. They're all appropriate ways to think about making a position or holding off on a position. Absolutely. So like I say, this is looking like it wants to brew a death cross retest. Bitcoin, Ethereum and altcoins are already, you know, generating a golden cross retest. And the question is, do we take it seriously? That is the main question. Considering that the dump was quite a big one in one go, I would likely think that we trade sideways for a little bit now before it makes a decision. So it might be that the Dixie does make its death cross retest and has little effect on Bitcoin and crypto and traditional markets, but especially crypto. And so long as Ethereum again is holding above something like 2,150, and Bitcoin it's holding above the 38,000, we could actually be looking for this just to be a consolidation in a short term before I move up. But it's very early days. We had a very large move across the market yesterday, something that I suppose was a bit surprising because it happened quite so fast without much telltale sign. However, it wasn't completely unexpected. As I said, we've been talking about, and I've been reiterating and about taking profit all the way up and not getting too crazy, because the higher we go, the risk to reward, especially for something like Bitcoin, is getting lesser and lesser and lesser. I mean, yesterday specifically, if we're talking about candle bodies on this daily, the major resistance was at 7.65, whereas the support, where I'd be looking to buy it back, is all the way down here at 26. So the risk to reward was completely outbalanced. It has been for a while now for Bitcoin, and the money flow index, as we all know, across the board for most altcoins and Bitcoin as well. Excuse me, I'm just getting over the Christmas lurgy here. Has been relatively high, and to be honest with you, the fact that it's coming down like this is okay. It doesn't suggest bubble pop, it suggests consolidation, which is fine. It was the divergence that we were afraid of, and we don't have bearish divergence on this. This is consolidation here, it's consolidation here, consolidation here, so it doesn't look like bubble pop territory. But we were, and we are still afraid of this area, the $48,000 zone. So I'm just trying to put it clearly here. As much as it probably feels devastating and looks devastating, and it is devastating, I suppose, for those who are overexposed. For those of us who are not overexposed, it doesn't really come as too much of a surprise. And I wouldn't actually rule out a V-shaped recovery, maybe even from this exact area, that we're bouncing from, based on certain altcoins, based on Bitcoin. A V-shaped recovery is absolutely a likely possibility, and at the moment, we're floating around the center range, so it still makes it a 50-50 trade. I'm more than hopeful that this will actually recover, surprisingly, as much as it sounds crazy to those who are watching this. Quite open to that idea, but it still begs the question, what's the risk to reward? So the risk to reward here, so we've got a reward of around about 11 to 12% and a risk of about 25%. So it's still not great, as far as risk to reward is concerned, which makes it, not a very attractive trade, obviously. You need the risk to be small in compared to the reward. That's the beauty of it. That's why buying it down at the lower levels are more attractive than buying it up at the higher levels, and the higher levels are printed on the charts with previous resistances, but they're also shown by the size of the order books on the money flow index, which has obviously been overheated for quite a while now. So as much as I'm suggesting that a V-shaped recovery is likely, it's still not a very attractive trade to me. Most of the trading, as far as I'm concerned, has been done before even December, and any sort of gains on top of that have been a bonus. There have been some trades that I'm still in that are mildly in profit. However, I might have to take profit on those, what profit there actually is. EOS being a good example, USDT. EOS still managing to hold a certain area of interest, but you know, it's not great. Let's face it, it's not a great look for it. So yeah, that's basically all there is to say. A V-shaped recovery is likely, but the risk to reward is not attractive. So take that for what it's worth, right? It's not a contradiction. It's the chart. This is the setup that you've got. You can try and make the trade on it, and just recognize that the risk outweighs the reward, even though the likelihood of the reward is higher than the likelihood of a loss. Doesn't mean that that is a trade worth taking. That's all I'm saying. Right, I'll leave it with you there, but thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.